Hi, my name is Lisa Micheletti and I'm the clinical supervisor at Destination Hope. On June 30th, we will be holding an event that I think will be useful for families to tune into to provide knowledge, education, and support, particularly for families that might be struggling with supporting their loved one that is struggling with severe and persistent mental illness, which may include diagnoses such as schizoaffective, schizophrenia, or bipolar disorder, or for any individuals that may be struggling in going through cycles of hospitalization, medication noncompliance, and for families that are at their wits' end, feeling hopeless and helpless and unsure of the next other ways that they can support their loved one. Well, I can't remember a time that being in the mental health field was something that I didn't want to do. From when I was younger, I was always advocating for the underdog, standing up for someone that was being bullied, supporting someone in my class with an intellectual disability. So I always knew that this was the field that I wanted to work in. As I came into the field, I became interested in severe and persistent mental illness because I was allowed to work with individuals struggling with psychosis and varying forms of severe mental illness that oftentimes keeps them in hospitals and families unsure of what to do. So being able to work with these individuals and see the progress that they can make from being lost and trapped within their own mind and body to being able to trust someone is something that is very rewarding and something that I'm very passionate about. So I have worked with several clients that have had severe mental illness. One of the situations that comes to mind is a client who was struggling with paranoid schizophrenia. He was not eating, he was not coming out of his room, he was not drinking. He also had epilepsy, which made treatment and medication even more difficult to manage the symptoms and find the right medication. Throughout this time, there were outbursts of aggression, there was isolation and alienation from the family, and the family didn't know how to support them and also continue to support the life that they were living. They struggled to care for him. They were unable to go to work and leave him at home for concern for his own safety. So when this client had come to Destination Hope, we were very unsure of really where to start. There was a lot of distrust, there was a lot of paranoia, there was responding to internal stimuli, there was a lot of behaviors that further alienated him from the group that was there at the time. But over time, in building rapport with this client, there became a relationship that flourished, and we were able to work together, and eventually trust began to develop. There was more trust in the process, more receptiveness to different types of medication that might help to improve the symptoms. And from this client had gone from not being able to hold a conversation and look someone in the eye to knocking on my door every single day, asking for me, sharing a joke, interacting with peers to the point where he actually didn't want to leave Destination Hope, and he was finding reasons. He was asking if he can get a job there. So eventually he had to move on, but the treatment that he had at Destination Hope with therapy and medication management and also the family support was crucial in improving his life. The first thing that comes to my mind is definitely the stigma that exists within society. However, I do feel that there's been some improvement and movement in recent years. So even more so, that would be impactful for those struggling with severe mental illness, would be finding ways that there could be support for these individuals long term. whether that be more coverage on medication such as long-acting injectables, and also more long-term options that may exist, because these clients and individuals, they may not be appropriate to be living at home, and they may not be appropriate for living in a sober living environment. So families really kind of get stuck after they go through the treatment process. So more long-term mental health treatment options would definitely be something that would be important for these individuals. On June 30th, families would be able to learn about the process of ways that they could be supported, which may include legal guardianship, and they would also be able to learn ways in which they can challenge their own beliefs and limits that may be keeping them from really being able to help their loved one due to feelings of guilt.